Sin City. Saturday night. Fight night. Any given weekend, this place is the entertainment capital of the world. When combat sports shines brightest on the Las Vegas Strip. Boxing and mixed martial arts need some new voices. And Franchise Sports Media got them for you. Join Kalani Griff and Griff and Kemp each week as they bring you news and hot takes from inside the octagon and the ring. Get your popcorn ready. It's showtime. FSM's main event starts right now.
What's going on, fight fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. I'm Kalani Griff.
I'm Griff and Kemp.
We are back for another edition. Griff, this past weekend, one of the most highly anticipated bouts, Gervonta Tank Davis, King Ryan Garcia met in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. Griff, you was wrong.
I was way off. I was
you
so
was
off.
wrong. Now, it was a good pick. You did, but you did pick Ryan Garcia to win late. Not a bad choice. Leading into it, before I ask you, leading into it, I did like a lot of things I saw from Ryan. He looked extremely confident. He sounded like he truly believed in himself, wasn't trying to sell false hype. He really felt that maybe this was the time for him to go in there and show the world he's ready to be on the stage with someone of Tank Davis's caliber. Just not the case. Griff, initially, before we break it too far down, what were your thoughts of the bout overall?
Yeah, overall, I mean, it was exactly what boxing needed. It needed its biggest names and its biggest stars to be in there meeting with each other and to really kind of have a showing who really is at the top of the top in the world of boxing. And I mean, despite the outcome, I think both guys showed that they are the biggest names in boxing. They are carrying the sport on their backs. And this weekend, they did the sport the biggest favor in the world, and that was putting boxing on the stage in front of the entire world and showing, yes, this sport can be entertaining and can be absolutely just worldwide impactful.
What I liked about it was, for boxing, that we had two guys from two different cultures who loved the fight game. Ryan Garcia from the Hispanic background, Gervonta Davis, African-American, black, and I love the fact that going into this, that wasn't a big narrative. You know, you had some, but it wasn't like, oh, this and that. I like that it was literally a beef, a rivalry. We gonna settle this.
Right.
And Gervonta the whole time was calm, cool, and collective. Like, okay, buddy, you talking all this mess. And again, I liked what I saw from Ryan Garcia. I liked what he was saying. I definitely had moments like, maybe this dude might, like, he might catch this dude. And especially if Davis didn't take him seriously. There was rumors that Davis was having trouble with his weight cut. Didn't seem to be a problem for him. Again, rumors go around, so you never know what to believe.
Yeah.
But once the lights went off and the guys were making their way to it, like you said, to see that massive crowd, to know the amount of people that were watching it all over social media, all the interactions, it did show you we are witnessing two of the best young ages so they could fight again. But it also shows you, unlike what we sometimes see in the UFC, smaller guys, this is at 136, can be big stars. You don't have to be a heavyweight champion or a middleweight champion. It helps, but you can be of the smaller division and still be a major star. I really like that.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, honestly, the biggest narrative for me watching this whole week, watching the fights on Saturday, and then kind of the impact of it afterwards. I mean, it's just, there's potential here, and I think there's real potential for a fresh start for boxing almost. I mean, you saw the impact this fight had on Saturday night. And now after the fight's over, there's already talks of more stars coming in, maybe Shakur against Tank Davis, you know, and we'll talk about who possibly afterwards. But I mean, it's just, this could be the point where boxing and all the, you know, the WBO, WBA, IBF, all the organizations, they get together and maybe they say, hey, you know what? Let's just start putting our big names out there and let's stop making guys feel like if they get one single loss, their entire career is derailed. There's a lot of good things. I mean, the fight itself was even fantastic, you know?
Let's get into it. Let's get into the fight
itself.
Let's get into it. Davis did win via 7th round KO to the body. But before that, what were your thoughts of the first 6.5 rounds before the finish? What were your initial thoughts?
Oh, man. I mean, my initial thoughts were just, I knew when I was watching the fight, I was watching, again, two of the best fighters boxing had to offer right there were fighting each other. But then kind of watching, you really could see the youth in Ryan Garcia, despite the fact Tank's not that old. Tank's not old by any means.
Years old.
28 years old. Still a lot of years left in him. But Ryan, it was just, I mean, the dude came out to, his walkout was a TikTok viral song. I mean, the guy came out and then he was just,
I don't know.
He just came out super aggressive. I mean, in the first round, they were both kind of feeling each other out.
No,
it was just slow, yeah. But then that second round, Ryan
was trying to turn it on.
Oh, he came
was trying to bring
out.
the heat. He said, "Oh, I'm coming at you." Real quick before you dive in, what I liked was it looked like, okay, let me try to set up the jab, find my distance, find my range, get a little loose with it, see what Tank's going to do.
Right.
Second round, whether, Garcia did say he got a little bored in there. So he wanted to push the action. My thought was, what if he tries to alternate his rounds? One round, I'm going to be conservative, try to get my distance. The next round, I'm going to come in aggressive, try to get you. The next round, maybe go back to boxing, stick on the outside. Again, trying to see what's going to work, because they're both counter punchers, naturally. Trying to see what's going to get Tank Davis to come forward and get out of the shell, because Davis did a good job of playing defense and avoiding big shots. So I wondered, had the knockdown the second round, which was beautiful.
It was so pristine. Good
I
Lord.
thought he was out.
You did?
The way he felt, I thought he was out. Like, oh, he's out. He's out. Garcia throwing the left hook, Davis slipping underneath, coming in with a left.
Yeah.
I mean, the way Garcia went, he's like an elevator that just went out of service.
Yeah.
I really thought he was out. He gets back up, though. Kudos to him. But after that, you notice the next few rounds, he was conservative. Again, if he doesn't suffer that left, I would love to know what his game plan would have been going forward after that aggressive second round.
Well, I'm sure with Ryan, I mean, again, like I said, that showed the youth of Ryan Garcia. He's a phenomenal boxer, one of the biggest names in boxing. But the thing was, he came out there, like you said, he was impatient. He was bored. He wanted to get it going and press on the gas. And Tank taught him a lesson and said, "No, young gun.
Yeah.
No, buddy.
Oh, young
no,
fella.
you ain't doing that."
Oh, whippersnapper. No. No, listen here, Padawan. He did come out like a pissed off teenager.
Yeah, he did.
But you know what, though? And I said this too when I was watching the fight amongst different people, is, well, what's he supposed to do? Because you got to think, when Tank's power, that's the ultimate equalizer.
Right.
But then also, if Tank is going to play the conservative counterpuncher role, what am I going to do if I'm a counterpuncher as well? We've seen in the UFC, when you put two counterpunchers against each other, sometimes we can get a bit of a dud. You remember when Rashad Evans took on Chuck Liddell?
Oh, yeah.
Chuck Liddell, naturally a counterpuncher, got frustrated because he's like, dude, engage with me. Right. So now he overly engaged, and well, we know what happened. He got hit with overhand right.
Yeah.
Davis lands the straight left, but it's almost like, I gotta find a way to get you to break your shell. I gotta find a way to get you to engage so something can open up for me. Fortunately, Davis didn't really fall for the trap and just kept his composure and stayed within the bounds and just said, I'm away from my opening since you're trying to be elusive and overly aggressive. So for him, I'm almost like, yes, you got caught, but I don't blame you for trying, because look, we've seen people try to box Tank. That don't work out. No. We've seen people try to brawl Tank. That don't work out. We've seen people try to play. Nothing so far has worked. You got to try different strategies to see if you can gain a different result.
You got to do different things. But I think one of my favorite things that Tank did in the fight, and it's kind of what led to that knockdown in the second and eventually the finish in the end, he knew he was a shorter fighter compared to Ryan Garcia. He was a lot shorter than that man. But he was like getting underneath him. It was like, whether it was in the clinch, he would get low and it would force Ryan Garcia to punch down. He'd have no choice but to go down. That left him wide open for all these counter shots by Davis. I mean, we all talk about the power of Tank, but I think what's really underrated is just the man's mind for the game. He's smart. He's strategical. He really has just an entire plethora of skills and ability and years of experience that it just shows he's formed himself into one of the best the sport has to offer, and possibly the face of boxing now, maybe?
He's definitely one of the faces. You came there and say you're the face of boxing when you still got Canelo out there and a couple other big stars, but he's in that conversation. Top three, no, without a doubt. Top three, his last, 6-7 bouts, bigger and bigger crowds. He's definitely up there. Maybe you make an argument he's the number 2 face in boxing, but here's
I mean, we've seen Canelo take losses, even though they were in different weight classes. I mean, have we ever seen Tank take a loss?
So Losing makes you not the face of the sport anymore?
I mean, I'm just saying what's fresh in people's minds is the image of Tank taking on this big super fight with Ryan Garcia. And what was Canelo's last fight? Bivol. And what was that? What was the outcome of that fight?
Well, he lost.
Exactly.
So does that not make Canelo a big star anymore?
No, he's a huge star. Don't get me wrong.
Saying?
But I'm just saying, the face of boxing, you kind of have to. It's kind of a short little span window. I mean, it's not like you get one fight win and then all of a sudden you're the face of boxing for the next 10 years. But I think right now in this moment, it's arguable that Tank right now is the face of that sport.
Outside of this loss to Bivol, when's the last time Canelo lost? Everyone else he dominated.
Yeah.
Outside of Floyd Mayweather. So in between being 22 years old and mid to late 30s, over a decade, he dominated.
I'm just saying.
So how is he not the face of boxing when he's got an entire country behind him? How is he not the face of boxing when he's trying different weight classes? How is he not the face of boxing off of one loss?
It's the only thing people have right now in their memory of him, right? All right, we haven't seen him fight yet.
You know what else you got in memory of him?
What's up?
The fact that he's beaten Triple G 3 straight times. The
Okay.
fact that he's beat this guy. The fact that he beat Sergey Kovalev for the light heavyweight championship. Granted, Kovalev was old, but the fact that he won those belts. You look at the fact that this guy, literally, he fighting 15,000 seat arenas. This dude is fighting in stadiums if need be. They're talking about for his next fight, he might do it in Jerry's World. Can Tank say that?
Ooh.
Can Tank Davis say that?
I mean, okay, I'll ask you
Can
this.
Tank Davis take his fight to another country? Because he might fight in Mexico City. Can he do that to another country? Again, I'm not saying Tank ain't up there, but don't sit there and say just because you lost one time in an upper weight class that you're not even really the mainstay in, that all of a sudden you're not the face of boxing because Griff, use that same logic for somebody in the UFC who you can't stop.
The UFC. The UFC.
Let's not get into it, but seriously, it's that same logic. Your boy's lost way more than once, and you will swear up and down that he's the face of it. He's the face of all time. But you can't have a double standard.
I'm standing right here telling you right now that I honestly think today, April 24th? April 24th, 2023. I don't think Conor's the number one. When it comes to the rankings of face of the sport, I don't think Conor's number one. I think right now Israel Adesanya's got a better case just because it's a recency bias, all right? It's about what have you done recently. And right now, Tank Davis has not only just won, but he got a win off of another big, huge name in the sport. So that's what's fresh in people's minds. Tank doesn't know what it's like to lose in the boxing ring.
No, he doesn't.
All right, so
he doesn't. But at the same time, he also, and not to his credit, but he also hasn't faced a plethora of killers and assassins like Canelo has. Again, I did say Tank was top 3, maybe even a second. So it's not like I'm saying he's not top 5. It's not like I'm saying he's 11th. But the fact that you want to sit here and say, well, due to recent bias, Canelo was in the face of boxing. Canelo. Think about what we just said here. We're only saying one name.
Canelo.
That's all we're saying. We're not sitting here saying nicknames. We're not sitting here. No. You have to say the name. Granted, there's nobody else named Gervonta, but we're only saying Canelo.
But we say Tank.
We're saying Tank.
You say Tank. You know what it is.
But it's a nickname.
You say you got to show the ultimate
literally
respect.
just saying Canelo.
It's just literally saying Canelo.
You don't even need to say the rest because everyone else. Canelo.
No, we know who that is. Canelo who?
This fight was literally one where Davis, as his star is rising, puts him more so out there. Canelo did that 7 years ago. Canelo did that 9 years ago. He's already out there as a big face. So again, these are the two biggest faces. I don't want to go back and forth on it much more. These are the two biggest faces. Gervonta, again, still has plenty of room at 28 years old to etch out more of a legacy for himself. Someone had brought up, should Floyd start being nervous about his undefeated streak of 50-0? First off, no. You're 28, you're 28, 29-0, 27 knockouts. Granted, that's super duper impressive. But we seen Wilder get to 42-0. And now he ain't nowhere close to going undefeated after facing Tyson Fury. I would only get nervous if I'm Floyd if Tank gets to like 45, 46-0. And by that point,
he's gonna be an old man.
Yeah, by that point you gotta figure, well, you know what? Nobody likes to see their record broke, but records are made to be broken. Yeah. And at least, hopefully, I'm still around to see it. If someone does do it, Mazel tov, good for them. You know, unlike Rocky Marciano, oh, there they go again, there they go. Just kidding. But it's one of those where you're like, hey, if I could be around to see someone break it, even though I want to keep it, congrats to them.
I mean, honestly, I think Tank's fight style kind of makes it a little hard for him. I can't really see him getting to that number, 50-0. He's not. Floyd is a pure defensive technician. He was able to avoid damage in the ring better than anybody else. And for Tank, that's not his game. His game is I'm gonna inflict the damage. I'm gonna put my hand in the fire a little bit just so I can get my shot and get where I want to be. I mean, I'm not saying it's inevitable he loses. I mean, I just don't. He could go undefeated, but I just don't think that 50 mark is reachable. You know,
it's a long way out there. He's got 21 fights to even be in the conversation for it. So again, long way to go. He has gotten better at his defense. Now he did take some shots from Ryan Garcia before the end.
Yeah.
Garcia felt that while he wasn't able to do it, somebody who could pressure Davis, somebody who could get him and bull rush him in that sense, he feels Davis can get a little bit flustered. And maybe, yes, his power is always going to be the ultimate equalizer to put you down when he lays the hammer. But if you can avoid that, you might be able to fluster him. Again, that's kind of like what Oscar De La Hoya tried to do with Floyd and try to convince every other fighter after him to do to Floyd, and it never worked. But Floyd didn't have Tank Davis's power. So while it might, again, like I said earlier, you got to try something against this dude. Maybe if you're a taller fighter, maybe someone can legit utilize their range to keep him on the outside with a stiff jab, powerful right, and keep circling. Maybe.
I think we had that with Garcia. Garcia's a tall fighter. He had the speed. No, he didn't stick to it. Maybe, okay.
He didn't stick to it, though. If he would have stuck to, because you remember, I think it was the 5th or 6th round. 6th round for sure, but I think like midway through the 5th, he started to get back to utilizing the jab, and that's when he started landing some right hands. And then you hear his corner saying, your right hand is what you, don't worry about the left hook. Your right hand is landing. And in the 6th round, he landed a couple rights.
Right.
So I do think if you can stick to your game plan, which is always hard, because everyone's got a plan until they get hit in the face.
Yep.
But if you can stick to your game plan, utilize the jab, stay on the outside, stick him with a stiff right, kind of like Lennox Lewis. It may not always be the most exciting, but if I can land and crack you one good time, it's going to be pretty. So you don't have to fight somebody like that. The problem is, he don't need many shots.
No, he doesn't.
He don't need many to land on you for you to say, ooh, I don't like that. 7th round, a body shot. And for a lot of people out there who don't understand, look, Roy Jones knocked out Virgil Hunter with a body shot. Bernard Hopkins knocked out Oscar De La Hoya with a body shot. We've seen it in the UFC. Now, granted, it was a kick, but Overeem knocked out Brock Lesnar with a body shot. When you get hit in that liver shot, and what I think throws people off is that it's a delayed reaction. If it was one of those where as soon as you get popped, you fold over and go down, okay. But the fact that you get hit, Garcia backing up. He's like, okay, ooh, I don't like this. It's almost like you guys just don't understand, man. It's crumbling on the inside. You playing football, being on the line, I'm sure you took a bunch of body shots. I mean, can you even describe to the least bit what it feels like to take those in the heat of action?
I mean, I've broken a rib before, and it was a injury where I had my entire side was dark blue. I'm gonna show you a picture after the show. It's a feeling where your breathing is affected. You really can't feel like, especially with people in general. I feel like we use our core. Everybody uses their core for almost every single thing they do in the day. Standing up straight, good posture, walking, going upstairs, everything. So when that gets attacked and you are really, really hurt in this area, you cannot function. You can't even stand up straight, get a good deep breath of air. And Ryan Garcia's out here. When it happened to him, he's still in a boxing fight. He's still in a boxing fight.
10 seconds to recover.
And that's like what I wanted to really talk about. I think it was interesting watching him because he went down and took the knee. Obviously, after the hit, he recovered a little bit and he tried to stay and ignore it. Wasn't happening, so he took the knee. And he didn't really look like a fighter who was, oh no, the fight's over. I'm pissed. I can't do it. It looked like he thought, okay, I'm just gonna take the 10 count. I'm gonna stand up in the very last second, try to recover from this. And then right when the referee hit 10, he stood up and you could just see that. Ooh, that pain on his face. He couldn't do it.
I was going to say, if you notice when he gets up, though, he stands up. It's nothing but agony. Like, granted, it's boxing. But, yeah, as soon as he's standing up, he's just, like, he tried to stand up, I think, at, like, 8 or 9. Couldn't do it, went right back down. The ref called it, and then it was just like, okay, help me out. Because right now, look, and the crazy part is, 30 seconds later, the side, it starts to feel a little bit, because you saw him afterwards, like, okay, now I can move around. But for that minute, that 30 to 45 seconds, it's feeling like someone just hit you upside the head. Why don't you show me the picture now on air?
On the picture now on air? Nah. Maybe we post it to the Instagram.
I want to see how you saw this like a bunch of blueberries.
A bunch of blueberries.
Nah, you don't got to.
We'll show another show.
Now. But Tank Davis does get the win. They were very respectful afterwards. Garcia said one day down the road he would love to run it back with him, hopefully without a hydration clause or at 140, whatever. So in the immediate future, We'll see how things unfold. We got a couple big fights going on. Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko. But who do you see as somebody that Tank Davis should maybe has eye on now? I just thought a couple names, no particular order. I said Devin Haney and Vasily Lomachenko. We also got Shakur Stevenson coming up. He's like, hey, guys, I want in. Frank Martin, George Camboso, Isaac Cruz, those guys all... Yeah, you got William Zapata from Mexico. So you got a couple names there. That's at 135. If you look over at the 140-pound division, you got Josh Taylor, you got Regis Progress, you got Jose Ramirez, so Tilafimo. So you got a couple guys out there.
Man, you don't even got to list anymore. What's Shakur's record?
Undefeated.
Undefeated?
Somebody's always got to go.
When I said that this is a moment boxing can utilize and make a positive step forward, if boxing really is going to make that move, I think Tank has to be on the same page, and it's got to be Shakur. It's got to be Shakur. I mean, another big super fight right after this first one, that would create so much positive momentum, and it would really set a standard that I feel like maybe a lot of the other big names in boxing, even the guys who are too heavy or too light to fight Tank, they might follow suit because they say, oh, look what Tank's doing. Tank's making a run for not just being, trying to stay undefeated and everything. He's trying to really make a run for the face of boxing, going back-to-back super fights, big name after big name. And if he could get a win off Shakur after beating Ryan Garcia, I mean, it's hard to debate against him that he's not the face of the sport.
Well, we'll see what Canelo does later in the year, but Shakur Stevenson ain't no easy out, and that
no, not at all.
And I'm not saying you saying that, but yeah, that's true. There's Shakur Stevenson, but Shakur has really said he wants the winner of Haney and Lomo. He feels like Haney might win, so he wants those two to go at it.
That would be even better.
Despite it being a loss, I can see Lomo and Tank being another one that you set up. Tank might be waiting to see how that fight unfolds to say, okay, the winner of that, I want to throw my name out there, and then it's a matter of if Haney was to win, who does he want? Shakur Stevenson or Tank Davis? If Lomo wins, Shakur Stevenson or Tank Davis. So it would be interesting. Sure, Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson for a title eliminator. But I think it's one of those where at the end, those two, the winner takes on one of them. Whoever doesn't get chosen, they take on the loser of that one. Because unless Lomo or Haney smokes the other one, I don't really see it hurting either one of their careers, even though Lomo's got a loss. He's still one of the baddest out there in the game. So I definitely love where it's going. And like we've said so far, 2023 has got a lot of great matchups so far and some to come. We're waiting on one in particular, but they just need to hurry up and quit bullshitting.
Hurry up, bro.
But nonetheless, we'll see how it goes.
Exactly. But also, just last note on what you just said. I mean, you have, like you said, you have that whole carousel of fighters going at each other, the big super names. Maybe while this is all going on, you got Ryan Garcia over here, who he's learned from his fight with Tank. He gets better. He maybe has a couple more fights with some mid to high tier guys, and then he's right back in there too. And then boom, you have all these big name boxers going at it, trying to prove who is really the dog, who's really top mother guy in the full sport.
I can see Garcia taking on Cambosa. Filimo. There is a couple good names for him to take out there that might be just a notch below the upper echelon, and it's where, hey, this is your chance to rebuild and get your name back out there and show people. I really do think, despite the loss, Ryan Garcia made a name for himself to show, hey, man, I gave it my all. I just wasn't good enough tonight. Like George St. Pierre always made saying, I may not be the best tonight, and I don't have to be the better fighter than you. I just have to be better than you that night. That night, Tank Davis was the better fighter. They fight again somewhere down the road. Who knows? Because Garcia did show, hey, man, I'm game. Just not there yet. I'm just not there yet. But I'm coming.
He's coming.
I'm coming.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up on that particular note. We got plenty more stuff to get to in future episodes, but let's just wrap it up now. I feel like with all that, that's a lot that we just dropped right there. Let's just like a little gem.
Let's just savor the moment. Let's just let this weekend and this sport for boxing, let's just let it be. It was beautiful. We're impressed. We are appreciative, and man, we're hyped for the rest of the year.
It is going to be a lot, and that's why I say we got a lot to get into, so we can say that for later. Till next time, fight fans, thank you guys for tuning into the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time,
I'm Griffin Camp.
I'm Kalani Griff. Check you later, fight fans.
Peace.